Hello, good morning. My name is Udwa Kamimo, and this is Cheche, the show where opinion counts live on Citizen TV. Well, it's the eve of Kenya's Jubilee. Among the many promises of the next 50 years is that Kenya will join the ranks of oil-producing countries. That challenge of developing Kenya's oil fortunes rests with our guest today, Chirchir, the Cabinet Secretary for Energy and Petroleum. He also has the job of providing us all with clean, affordable, and reliable power. We have also in the studio with us Tegin Jao of Royal Media Services. He will be the panel. So, good morning and welcome to the program, sir. We'll start with Kenya's oil fortunes first, because we've heard so much bandied about and that we're supposed to become oil producing. What are the facts about Kenya's oil fortunes or oil prospects?
Thank you, Amimo, and good morning. So much work is happening in the exploration, extractive sector, particularly in the hydrocarbon segment of the economy right now. If I take you slightly to memory lane, a lot of work has been done heated to 2012, the year 2012 in the exploration sector. And until 2012, when the first well in Chirchir basin was drilled and successful oil discovered, there is so much work happening now in all the blocks across the country. We've got 44 licenses issued in some 44 blocks within the country. So there are explorations in 44 blocks within the country.
Okay, so let me just pause, so because there's a lot of information out there, and you can clarify that for us. 46 blocks across some 4 basins, or 44? 44
blocks, 46 blocks across some 4 basins.
Yes.
Currently, 44 are currently being worked on within all the four basins. And until the discovery by Tullow Oil in the Chirchir, Ngamia, and Twiga, there is so much appetite and there is so much work happening now, because it's now only realized that the kind of sediments, based on the various studies going on from seismic and magnetic shootings happening, that we actually do have hydrocarbons in Kenya. And since then, Tullow Oil has drilled 6 wells successfully with oil discoveries with no single failure. Today we've drilled in Kenya 42 wells, 42, but up to 2012 there were no discoveries. Between 2012 and now there's been 10 wells drilled. To drill a well is quite expensive. You're talking about spending anything up to 6 billion shillings. And within the kind of contracts or agreement that we do sign for exploration, we have a contract called production sharing contract. A production sharing contract allows you to come in, explore or own a block, explore for oil. If you discover, we then share on the benefits. So yes, there's so much work happening. We do expect that very shortly we'll be working with those discoveries through what we call a development plan to build up how we are going to exploit these resources.
Can you give us the geographical spread of these 44? Where are we talking about? Which part of the country?
The 44 will be in, we've got the Lamu Basin. Lamu Basin, which basically covers by name the Lamu side, offshore and onshore within the Lamu Basin. We've got Mandela Basin, which, like the name again does describe, is within the Mandela region. We've got what we call the Ansa Basin, and we've got the Chirchir area basin.
Ansa is where?
Ansa is running down up from Garissa, coming down towards the Lamu Basin. Yeah.
Okay. So we're told that these oil discoveries are in commercial quantities, but again, a lot of big numbers being thrown about. So where do we stand in terms of capacity, possible production of barrels per day, and where that fits into the current production capacity of, the big players we see on the continent?
The exploration contract is a very wide subject. We do first what we call exploration well. Once exploration discovers hydrocarbon products, be it gas or petroleum products, we will do what we call appraisal wells. Appraisal will basically tell you the scope of the size of the reserve. When you do an exploration well and discover that there is oil, you need to map out the size of the reserve. To the extent that the exploration well do identify that we've got a depth of, say, 100 meters of oil, or 200 meters of oil, or 50 meters of oil, then you need to map out the scope and the size of the reserve to be able to identify the size of the reserve. And a well will basically be defined to be able to deliver anything between 100 barrels per day, 100,000 barrels per day, 10,000 barrels per day, 5,000 barrels per day, or 1,000 barrels per day, depending on the size of the reserve. Until you do the appraisal wells and get to know the size, then only then can we define the capacity of that reserve.
What we're told is that Kenya has a capacity of about 20 billion barrels, and we can project daily production of about 3,000 barrels a day. Is that correct?
Until I think sitting here as a minister and to be able to really farm out numbers, it would really be something that we would have to have done appraisal wells to confirm how much we are able to.
So the appraising hasn't been done.
The appraising hasn't been done. The development phase for particularly a company like Tullow has not happened. We basically shot exploration wells in a number of basins, particularly in a number of in some of the blocks they have. They've worked in a block called 10BB, where significant discoveries, 3 wells have been drilled. They've worked in a block called 13T, where discoveries have been made. And under the production sharing contract, they will then go to appraisal wells. Then we'll sit down and do what we call a development plan. Don't forget that the production sharing contract, like I mentioned earlier, does give a benefit sharing both in ownership between the government of Kenya and the extractive industry company who owns the block. And because we are a shareholder, we need to sit down together and agree at what rate are we going to pull the product, how do we get it to the market, and how do we share on the profits. All these are defined in the production sharing contract.
You seem to be echoing what the Minister for Mining, Najib Balala, said when he was here on the show, which was that they found that some of these exploration companies that were exploring were overshooting themselves and preempting themselves with the announcement of, commercial quantities. This is what we can expect. And so in not so many words, you're saying that the numbers we have or that we've read in various publications are not quite correct.
No, to the extent that we've not done appraisal and we cannot give firm numbers. And there's yet a lot of work happening today because don't forget that we've just made discoveries with Tullow in 2 blocks. Like I've said, we've got 44 blocks being worked on. We've got, for example, some discoveries of gas in block L8 within the Lamu Basin, and there's a lot of work and new appetite after the discovery. And to the extent that we've not done appraisal, we cannot really put hard numbers onto.
Okay.
But for the purpose of a company like Tullow quarterly statutory reporting, they are bound to say, yes, we've drilled 1 well, this is the depth of the oil, we estimate the size of the reservoir to be this, and therefore we think we have 1 billion barrels of oil within that reserve. That would give us 5,000 barrels per day if we went into extraction. To the extent of commerciality, we will have to do a development plan jointly as government with the companies to be able to know how we are able to harness this oil, how we are able to get it to the market. And this will take us another maybe 4-5 years.
5 years. The World Bank says that it will take 6 years.
It basically involves quite a few things like building of infrastructure. But for us, the question is, most of the world economies who have developed on the platform of natural resources. It's for us to accelerate the development of this resource, because when I talk to the members of parliament, for example, from Turkana, and when we have had a few issues from time to time, social host challenges, host community challenges, the question has been, look, let's quickly work and develop these natural resources, support the economy of the community, of the county, of the country, because countries like Texas or Nigeria or any other economy, mostly in the areas like Canada, who are Texas, who are rich in oil, basically develop their economy on the premise of turning national resources to wealth, to human wealth, to human capital, to knowledge. And then for Turkana, for example, there is absolutely no reason why those children are not going to school. When that oil formation did not happen yesterday, it happened some several hundred years ago. And therefore, let us accelerate the development of this natural resource, harness the wealth into human capital, human knowledge, and be able to give ourselves...
Kenya, this is a new thing in this country. Do we have the expertise, the experts, the people to negotiate with these companies? How do we make sure that we are not conned by them? They are all over the world. We are new. We don't know these things.
I think we're discovering oil in Kenya at a time when the petroleum industry is fairly developed. The Petroleum Act in Kenya does capture the benefit sharing contract as a draft. And therefore, to the extent that we've signed the benefit sharing agreement with these companies, it does actually stipulate that, for example, it goes to the details of, if you're going to extract, for example, 10,000 barrels per day, at the rate of 10,000 barrels per day, we will share the profit into the proceeds of the sales into what we call cost oil and profit oil. The cost oil goes into the cost of exploration and development of the oil industry, of the well for that matter. And we do capture the cost of every company who is in exploration in any block. So we do have accounts that are audited for tallow, for advanced